Hi, I'm Alex from Feed the Brood and I'm here cooking with Kensington Scott, a lovely, beautiful, hands-free chicken curry. I call it hands-free chicken curry because instead of like a normal curry being done on the work surface or on the top on the hob, so you have to keep stirring and chopping, I actually bung everything in the oven, and that means that when you're running around after busy family life, you can chuck it in the oven and forget about it and just add a few things part way through. So the first thing we're going to start with, being a busy mum, I am using frozen onions that have already been chopped and also frozen ginger, and I'm batch cooking. I'm doing a really large batch so that when I cook this once, I actually have a double batch and I've got a whole family meal to put in the freezer. So next week I've got a meal that I don't have to cook, I can just defrost and heat up. So I'm starting with a little bit of oil. I've got a really big roasting tin. This is one of my favourites. If you've got enough chicken that you want to use two, then obviously if you've got shelves in the oven, you can put them one above the other. I'm going to wedge in as many as I can. If you have the chicken wedged inside the pan, it will go really juicy and stocky. If you have them laid out really bare, only a few with gaps in between, then they will dry out quite a lot. So I'm going to start with a little squish of oil. Now, one thing you'll know about me is that I never really measure anything, but so I just go with guesswork. A little bit of oil in the bottom of the pan and some of my frozen onions. These save me so much time when I'm cooking. I love having onions and garlic and ginger in the bottom of all of my meals, but and I'm not averse, I'm a really rapid chopper actually, but things like onions and ginger, if you need to get going, I quite often walk through the door, I've still got the keys in my hand, the children are saying, I want a snack, and I can whip something out. So that was about 100 grams of onions, chopped onions, and this is one of my favourites. Quite a lot of the supermarkets these days do frozen onions, frozen garlic, frozen ginger, or they do the lazy garlic or lazy ginger, and you can just use a little bit. So there's 50 grams, this is a 75 gram pack, so it's 2/3 of this pack, and that is frozen ginger. And it's a lovely korma curry, but you could use any curry spices that you prefer, you like, that are your favourites. So that's ginger and onion, and then I'm putting my chicken. Now I like a chicken thigh fillet. I'm putting them in whole, I'm not chopping them. They go in whole because it saves me time, but also when they come out of the oven and they're ready to serve, if you've got little ones, then you just chop them up when you're at the table, because you generally chop anyway. So I'm going to put the chicken in here, and I've got 2 packs of chicken thigh fillets because I want to make a double batch. I want some for next week. It's nice and easy. Oh, look at that, nestled in. Now I like, I've got my korma curry paste. I'm going to put this in and it's going to go in the oven for 15 minutes just to brown off the chicken before we add in any coconut milk. I'm just going to wash my hands for hygiene. And so I'm using 100 grams of korma curry paste. And there we go, put that over the top. Lovely. Now the coconut milk will get added later, so we're just going to let this brown off. I've got the oven preheated at 180 and mixing that in. And that is stage 1 ready to go in. So we just want to give that chicken a chance to brown through. And then we'll add in stock, coconut milk, apricots for the little ones, and some coriander to serve. That's going in the oven. In it goes. And set the timer for 15 minutes. And then we'll get to the next stage when that goes off. So the chicken's had 15 minutes to get brown, so I'm going to pull it out and add some more things to it before it finishes off. Look at that, it's a little bit pale, but that's because it's not finished yet. So we're adding 100 grams of, I've chopped up apricots, you can just bung them in. They are a lovely little bit of sweetness for the children, they'll love a bit of that. Those little nuggets will get really nice and juicy as well. And I like to just bung in a stock cube any old how. If it looks like it's really, really dry, then add in some boiling water with the stock cube as well. That will just dissolve and go into all of the juices to make a curry sauce. And then we've got coconut milk, one of my favourite ingredients, and all the solid cream on top. This will just form a lovely curry sauce as it cooks. In it goes, and I'm going to mix it all in. The recipe also calls for some butternut squash. You can get frozen butternut squash, or you can add fresh, but make sure that you add it in early enough for it to cook. It is a really lovely addition to add some vegetables for the children. I just don't have any today. Oh, looking good. So that's going to go back in the oven for 20 minutes and it's ready. So you've got time to do other things and get your rice on and steam some veg. There we go. It's a bit heavy now. Whoa, in it goes. Lovely. Set the timer for 20 minutes and you'll be done. So the curry is out of the oven and it's looking and smelling absolutely delicious, and it was so easy because we just did it all in the oven. So now you can take however much you want to save for next week and however much you need for this week. I'm going to serve this all up into this bowl here and sprinkle it over the top with herbs. It's really important to get children used to herbs. So if you think your children will dislike the herbs, then don't use too much, but actually getting them used to it every week, every time you cook something like this, will help desensitize them and get them used to the fact that it doesn't taste that bad, and get used to little bits of green here and there. And if they really complain, you can show them how to remove it very simply. But here we are. I'm just putting my curry here. If this is the right amount of sauce for what I would like. If you like it more sort of runny sauce, then add more water when you're adding the stock, boiling water. If you like it a bit drier than this, then use less of the coconut milk or use a wider pan. But we've got this gorgeous curry sauce here, and all of the apricots have gone really gooey and soft. If you've used butternut squash, that will have soaked that all up. It's really delicious there. Oh. Get all those juices in, and the chicken thighs will have created lots of lovely gravy in there. That's why I really love using a thigh. It's got lots of lovely flavour in it. So I've chopped some coriander. I'm going to put that on top. Coriander goes really beautifully with curry. And I've got rice. Now, brown rice is healthier, but if you're cooking home cooked meals anyway, then lovely white basmati rice feels like a bit of a treat and isn't so bad. You get that cooking in the last phase of whilst the curry is cooking. Again, it's something you can put on and just leave. And I've got some broccoli to go with it over here. It's really lovely. There is some butternut squash in here and lots of lovely vegetables in the base of the curry sauce, but it's really good to always team a meal up like this with some vegetables so that your children get used to seeing that, having them with, and get that idea of a good balanced meal. But here we are, we've got our lovely hands-free chicken curry with rice and broccoli.